here at Talladega Superspeedway. You know, it gets pretty warm here even in May, but in July it can be incredibly hot. Now, a new innovation is the subject of today's Track Fact. What every driver would like to have. It's called in-car air conditioning. Take a look. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
This particular system is going to pull air in one of the NACA ducts and not use a blower at this point if they're moving down the track, because there's enough pressure coming in the NACA duct and push air right on through the system. Inside the system, we split the air off, exhaust the hot air off the hot side of the system, which is stripping the heat out of the system, and exhaust it back out of the car. Take a small amount of the process air and feed it up to the helmet. We have to be extremely careful about how many of these modules that we use in a system, to not draw too much power out of the car. So there's a fine line there, some trade-offs we have to do. This system right now weighs in the range of 16 to 18 pounds, and they can offset that with the weight that they put inside of the car anyway, so it's really not a problem in that respect.
And boy, I tell you, you guys I know have driven in a lot of hot days, and that would be a welcome relief.
No question about it. They've tried to do a lot of different things over the years to help the driver inside and yet not take away from the performance of the car.
Ned, now they make about 10 times the money we made, and now they've got air conditioning. Yeah. They got power steering, air conditioning. I mean, what else would they want?
I mean, it's like 1,000 times more than my money.
What do you think, Bill?
Well, I remember one race here in July. I had a cool suit at the time, and it quit working on the first lap. So I had a fan that we turned on, mounted on the dash, turned the switch on for that, and the fan blade broke off. So I says, but my crew chief at the time was Norman DeGray, and he says, well, Bill, just drink some water. It's going to be a long day. And I said, okay. Went to grab the water hose. They forgot to put water in the water jug. I ran the whole race in July without any air or cool suit. Believe me, here, Talladega is the hottest racetrack that seems like we ever race at. And I'm thankful that we have cool suits now.
I tell you, that technology you saw was developed by Computech Manufacturing out of Kansas City, first used in the military in tanks and helicopters. Let's check in with Kyle Petty.
No, I just wanted to tell you guys sitting up there in the booth that I was pretty tired of hearing you whine since I got to get out here and get in one of these things. But since you guys used to drive like pure stock cars in the late 30s and 40s, didn't those cars have air conditioning and power steering on them then?
What was air conditioning? What is air conditioning?
Oh, don't give me that, man. Don't give me that. You had it in that 65 Ford station wagon you used to drive.
It didn't have air conditioning.
Okay.
I don't think, but
okay. You're
right. It has changed a lot. But I'll tell you one difference, Kyle, and Ben and all of you, in the cars back then, you didn't have nearly as much heat in them because the engines didn't turn as many RPM, so you didn't generate nearly as much heat as you do. Plus the fact that the cars were much higher off the ground. I mean, we had to run a frame height of like 7 inches, so you had more space for the heat to evaporate from.
All right, pace car coming off, and green flag about to come out, and Bob Shax has led every lap. Uh-oh, somebody's going to get slapped on the wrist for this deal.
Possibly jumping the restart. Bob Logue will be watching in the tower, the president of ARCA.
I think he backed off.
Yeah, he got back in place. He heard Benny, and he got back in line.
He heard you, BP. Hank Wetzel and Doyle Ford on the flag stand. Lap number 11 of 117, which make up the 500-kilometer event. Bob Shack still leading here at Talladega.
The car we was talking about was Joey Sontag out of Texas that jumped out. But I do believe he got back in line. There we see Gary Bradbury in 78 car. But on the outside goes Jimmy Horton. And Bradbury's roof camera watches Horton go by. There we see Peter Gibbons and Kenny Allen. Gibbons in the blue and white 92. Kenny Allen in 3. And there's Andy Hillenberg that we talked about just a moment ago in the 11 car.
Allen picked up a good draft up on the outside.
Those cars battling back for 10th, 11th, and 12th position. As you see Allen's onset car, that's a cable satellite TV guy. I'm told that sponsors him.
And that last car in that group is also a new rookie.
Kevin Ray.
Kevin Ray car, number 2 car.
Cliff's about, what, 7 or 8 miles from the racetrack here?
Yeah. He's the son of former Winston Cup driver John Ray, and Donnie Allison preparing that car number 2. 17 years of age.
Uh-oh.
Here's Perry Tripp, car number 6, apparently having an engine problem, former sprint car and midget racer, down on the inside track apron.
And he has been black flagged by the ARCA officials. Evidently was smoking severely enough that in WW Transport automobile. And look at this gaggle of cars coming off turn 4. There we see Horton going down to the inside, trying to take over the 3rd, 4th spot.
He's bringing Mike Wallace right along with him.
We see the blue and white cars, Jimmy Horton. It's Harris Devane, the red and white car on the outside. Looks like Harris is able to pull on that outside. Pulled by Jimmy Horton.
Harris Devane, a rookie here. He's a farmer from Cuthbert, Georgia. Qualified in 5th position, having a good run at Talladega. But speed and horsepower are so critical here as you're riding along now with Mike Wallace, the Klausner Furniture Industries car.
And old Paul Kenny Allen has lost a lot of distance. Evidently someone moved him up the racetrack. He had to get out of the throttle. When that happened, back he went. That's Bob Hill in 46 car now on the outside of Jimmy Horton.
Horton's got himself caught down on the inside there. No one drafting with him, and he's losing positions.
And Jimmy Horton could become the all-time Superspeedway win leader. He has 8 right now, and he's tied with the late Grant Adcox right now.
Now you're riding with Jimmy Horton, with Ken Schrader on. Timmy Cahoot prepared brand new Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
And there's Joey Sontag. I was talking about a moment ago. The 73 car is Mike Wallace. Pulls on the back of him and goes by Horton. And meanwhile, here comes Mark Stahl in the 32 car. That blue and white car on the outside.
I believe Horton's going to have to get himself up in line, up on that outside line, or get some major help down there. But as everybody comes up behind him, they can go up and get him that outside line and just drive on by him then.
Meanwhile, Bob Shack is still winning this race. Jeff Purvis is in 2nd place. Mark Thompson is 3rd as we're inside Jimmy Horton's cars. He closes up on the inside of Mark Stahl. Now he has Hillenberg on the back bumper. Maybe these cars with Kevin Ray, maybe these 3 cars can get hooked up and go to the front.
Well, we'll see how that'll work. Kevin Ray doing a good job there in the 2 car.
How old is he, Ned?
17.
He's a junior in high school in East Avoga, Alabama. Mark Stahl in the car number 32 registered his best ever ARCA finish coming in Daytona in the season opener. He finished 8th down there, had a pretty good run. Built his own race cars and his own motor at his shop in Savannah, Georgia.
See, Ken Allen's caught back up to that group in the onset car. He can just sort of pick and choose which line he wants to go back there, and he's looking them over, deciding to go the outside line.
I tell you what, now these guys need to get in line and try to get back to the lead because they're getting farther and farther away from Bob Shack.
Jimmy Horton still out on the inside of Mark Stahl, and there's Hillenberg and Kenny Allen, the 11 and 3 cars coming at you. And behind them is Kevin Ray, young man who is getting a lot of drafting experience right now. He's going to school, isn't he, Bill Venturini?
Oh, drafting 101, no doubt about it. Seems like the outside lane is a little faster today. It showed it earlier this morning when they had the IROC race that the outside lane was a little faster, and it's showing it again today. That Jimmy Horton tried to drop down to the inside lane, and everyone seemed to leave him go, went by him on the outside. Yeah. Ken Allen's showing it right now. He's back in the outside group, and he's catching back up with the leaders.
Now all these cars are in line. Let's see if they can catch back up to our leader, Bob Shack.
That number 3 car, that on-sat car, has led 2 races here at Talladega.
There we see the leader of this group is Mike Wallace. And there we see that Mike Wallace currently in 7th place, and there's our leader, Bob Shack.
And Bob Shack has no victories here at Talladega, but he has 6 wins at the 2.5-mile Pocono International Raceway.
He is the winningest active driver right now in ARCA with 17 career victories, which puts him 3rd overall. At 16 laps in the books, our leader is Bob Shack with Jeff Purvis in 2nd. Mark Thompson is 3rd. The rookie Harris Devane is 4th. And Bob Hill is 5th. Green flag racing action coming your way from Talladega Superspeedway. Back with more in just a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, a new leader here just moments ago. Jeff Purvis, who won the race last year, took the lead, and the car that was leading, right side of your screen, is slowing down, and another contender is on pit road. Jimmy Horton's car has slowed, and John Kernan, he's headed toward you.
Well, it's Jimmy Horton who comes into that new Monte Carlo. Timmy Cahoot and the crew will go over, lift the hood. Apparently the car has just slowed way down. Now they'll go under and see a little bit of smoke. They're looking around the right side, looking at cylinders. It may not be running on all 8 cylinders. It may be running on 7 cylinders. They might be checking to see if a plug wire had come off. As I got down to the pits, Timmy Cahoot just looked at me and kind of shrugged his shoulders as if to say, I'm not really sure what the problem is. But there goes the lead pack. Horton sitting here on pit road, losing a lap.
Sound like they shut the engine down on the car, and Timmy Cahoose is telling Horton the bad news.
Commit sit done.
And so Horton, who was a contender to give Schrader 3 consecutive Speedway victories, is now on pit road, at least a lap down and apparently out of it today. Now here's what happened a moment ago in the front of the pack with the lead change in turn 4.
Jeff Purvis just moves up on the outside. Bill Venturini talked about that high side being the faster groove. He took advantage of it, moved right on around. Don't know if he heard you, Bill, and decided to move up there or not, but he took the lead. But then, almost immediately, Bob Shack started dropping back.
And it's like he has on 7 cylinders or something, because that red car right at the end of the line is Bob Shack. John Kernan, does he have a problem?
Well, I talked to the crew just before coming down to Jimmy Horton's pit. They told me they didn't have any serious problem, but a few laps earlier, Shack had radioed in, said the RPMs he was losing RPMs. The motor was slowing down. He wasn't going as fast. And to top that all off, the car was very, very loose.
I would guess that's why he backed off, because the car just got loose and he got out of there.
And a problem for Andy Belmont, the car number 5. Remember this car from Daytona? He did a dipsy-doodle out of turn 2, flipped it 7 times and got out and made sure he mentioned his sponsor. Take a look at his hood here on the car number 5 as you watch the hood begin to flap a little. Let's check in with Michael Waltrip. Mike?
Man, we know that can be a bad situation. We saw Hood totally lift off a car up at Michigan and how far it flew. Running a little bit faster here at Talladega, so it could probably fly even further. I think he's coming to the pit now. I'm standing right beside Kevin Ray's pit. Kevin's sponsor today is the Mississippi Motorplex. It's a motorsports entertainment complex with a quarter-mile drag strip, a half-mile asphalt racetrack, plus entertainment surrounding racing. So a lot going on in Mississippi. A lot of new tracks around the country. It's real exciting, and this is another.
Ashton Ray, they're talking about that white number 2. Peter Gibbons in 32, the blue and white car. That's Andy Belmont. It says Lake on the front, I believe. Kenny Allen in the red and black number 3. Joey Sontag in the yellow and white number 73.
And Kevin Ray has had a very interesting week here. He has been followed around by the folks from Scholastic Sports America. And coming up on May 15th, you're going to be able to see Kevin Ray up close and personal, how a young man who is just a junior in high school at East Alabama High School in East Tavoga, Alabama, his life and how he got to be a super speedway superstar even at the young age of 17.